Hello everyone! Today I wanted to try out the Go Figure tag created by the lovely duo at Go Figure. You can find their channel linked below in the description if you haven't for some reason heard of them. Just like they did in their video, I'm going to answer these questions while I open the Shizue Animal Crossing Nendroid by Good Smile. And let's go ahead and ask the first question. It is, what is your figure aesthetic? Now, if you've seen any of my videos, you've probably noticed that my figure aesthetic generally consists of boys, cool looking boys to be exact. And I do collect some girls though. I think I'm way more picky when it comes to girls than I am when it comes to boys. With girls, they have to be a character that I actually really like. I mean, obviously they have to be a character I like with all figures, but I'm way more picky with girls. Like, I really have to like the character if I'm buying a figure of them. Aside from being cool, I like my figures to, I don't know, I really like figures that have really intricate bases, and unfortunately this isn't, always possible with a lot of figures, and it's really a shame. Like, Nendroids, for example, I really like collecting them, but most of them just come with this, boring square base that all Nendroids come with, and that's just something you come to expect. Most figures come with the plain circular base, and although I'm okay with some circular bases when they actually put some detail on them, like the Mega House Kuroko no Basket line, I actually really like those because they have like gem flooring on them, so they at least tried something. There are other figures that do the same thing. They keep the plain, circular base, but they put like some gravel or something like that, and I do like those. I particularly like figures that actually have like a scene in their base, like the Alter Natsume's Book of Friends figure with Takahashi Natsume. I really love that base. It's very beautiful. We're starting to see a few more figures that have those type of bases, which is really, really great, and I hope we can continue to see them. Oh, that's really loud. I don't know. I still think that most figures, unfortunately, have bases that I don't like very much because they're just plain. I do like it when they have a figure that has the option of being displayed without the base, like the Plum Cardcaptor Sakura figure. I display her with just her clouds. There's also the latest Mega House Takatsugi figure from Gintama, which you can just display him sitting on his chair. So I like more intricate figures that aren't just plain boring poses for the most part. Unfortunately, a lot of characters that I want come with those plain bases, but what can you do, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next question. I've spoken about bases a little too long. The next question is, what figure are you most excited for this year? Now, for the longest time, I thought the figure I was going to be most excited for was the Aniplex Black Butler Seal Phantomheim figure that's coming out this year. I was really, really stoked about him, and that would have still been my answer a month ago, but ever since they announced the Gundam Wing figure set that's coming out, I believe by Alpha X Omega, those are the figures I'm looking forward to the most. Unfortunately, I was only able to pre-order Hero. I wish I could have pre-ordered both of the sets. I want my Peacecraft, but oh my, her lower body just fell out. But what can you do? Maybe I'll be able to pre-order her down the line. I'm just so glad that we're getting decent, oh, these are actual bells, sorry. I'm just glad that we're getting decent Gundam Wing figures. I love Gundam Wing. I've loved Gundam Wing ever since I was really young. It's the show I grew up with, and I think I lost the bells. Oh, they're right here. When I was younger, I actually had a Gundam Wing lunchbox that I would always carry around, so I'm just really excited that some figures are coming out for them, and I'm really, really stoked and looking forward to it. The next question is, what part of figure collecting makes your heart flutter? Now, I know that this is kind of cheesy because everyone likes unboxing, but the part that makes my heart go flutter is just finally opening the figure and actually closely examining it and looking at the fine details that make up the figure, because details are everything. Even if you're buying a prize figure, it's still really nice to actually finally have it and be able to inspect it. You can see what they did wrong, what they did right, what you like about the figure, and it just shows all the effort that the sculptors and everyone who created the figure put into it. So I really love that part, and that's my favorite thing about figure collecting. The next question is, what is the figure you dropped the most cash on? Well, this was an impulse buy, and it's actually my most recent anime figure haul, but it's the Max Factory Ryan Mode version figure. I never thought I was going to get him, but I did, and I was able to get him because of a sale. He was still $192, but that included shipping, so it was an amazing deal. I've never seen him that cheap. I was very glad I was able to get him. I never thought I would, and yeah, I definitely spent the most money on him. Alright, the next question is, be honest, prize figures, hell yes or hell no? Well, it has to be hell yes for me. But with prize figures, I do like them to be a little bigger. I don't really like those really small prize figures. And that's because I just enjoy bigger figures in general. I think a lot of people do as well, but I don't know, it has to be kind of bigger for me. I don't really like, I have a certain type of collection, and it's mostly bigger figures. When I was younger, I collect a lot of trading prize figures, and that's no longer the case. So I do like it when they're a little bigger, and I can't really collect smaller prize figures. And when it's a prize figure, I really do only try to get the ones that I know are nice quality. I don't really just jump in and buy a prize figure. I did that once, and I kind of regretted it just because of how the end product turned out. But what can I do? I already did it, and I suppose I still enjoyed it. The next question is, what do your parents think about your figures? Now, along with my mom, I'm also gonna talk about my sister because she also kind of raised me and got me into the hobby. So I'll start with my mom though. I think that she's okay with the figure collecting. She thinks they're too expensive, although I don't tell her how much they actually cost, so she doesn't know that. If she did, she'd freak out. She likes them. She thinks they're pretty, but she would definitely be happy if I decided to get rid of some of them. And I mean, I have sold figures before, so every time I do, she's like, "Oh, that's nice. How about you sell some more?" kind of thing. I think that with my hobbies, the one that she supports the most is my probably my BJD hobby. She actually is very supportive in it, and I don't see that same kind of support with figure collecting. Although she does appreciate them, like I said, she just thinks I have too many. That's probably why. I only have like 4 dolls, so it's a little different. With BJDs, she is very into it. She's always like looking at stuff that might be nice furniture for them and that sort of thing. And I kind of wish that it was the same with my figures. But I don't know, it's just what she enjoys more. She does think, like I said, she thinks they're pretty. She looks at them and she notices like, oh, that's the new one, and she'll look at it. But it's more, the next question that follows is like, so are you gonna sell any of them? So I don't know. My sister, however, is very supportive about it because she was actually into figure collecting herself. The only reason I think she got out of the hobby is because she kind of had a bad breakup, which unfortunately the partner she was with at the time helped her collect figures, and he's the one who kind of got her into it as well. And what they would do is they would go and buy figures together, even if she would pay for them herself. Sometimes they would pay for them together, that sort of thing. Same thing with video games. he would pay for them. Sometimes she would pay for them, other times, or they'd collectively buy them. And when they broke up, what he did is he took the majority of the collection, even things that she paid for personally, and a system that she bought herself. And after that, she just kind of got, dejected. She didn't really want to be in the hobby that much anymore. It was just a big blow, and I understand it. I really do. I wish that it wouldn't have caused her to get. I wish it wouldn't have caused her to get out of the hobby. But because of that, she is very excited whenever I get a new figure. I do try to budget, and I'm not always successful, especially when I have a sister who, when I ask her, which figure should I get? This Ginkgo figure from Mega House, or this new Digimon, Angemon figure. I'm only getting one, and she'll be like, no, just get both, it's fine. So yeah, that doesn't really help very much in that aspect, and I did end up getting both. But I don't know, I really love my sister's support. I wish that she hadn't left the hobby the way she did, but at least she can still experience it, when I buy figures. The next question 7 now, is what figure are you most embarrassed to show your grandma? Now, my grandma is not someone that I would be really embarrassed about showing a lewd figure to, because she is... Sorry, they're seeing people outside, so they're freaking out. But my grandma is not someone I'd be very embarrassed to show a figure to, just because she's very, very perverted. Like, she says really pervy jokes. Generally not to me, because I'm like her favorite grandchild, and she does treat me, she babies me a lot more than she does everyone else, so she's never said anything like lewd to me, but I've heard her jokes and I know the kind of person she is. And she said things to my sister that, are funny. It's like a pervy grandma who doesn't love it, right? But I would still be embarrassed to show her a figure that I don't currently own, but I did pre-order, and that's the Aoba 18 plus figure from Native. And although I'm not going to display him, without the lower bit covered, it'd still be embarrassing to show her. I think she'd crack a joke more than get embarrassed, because she wouldn't care. But still, it's not something that I'd be like, hey grandma, look what I've got. I'd much rather show her my Kaname Chidori figure from Little Panic in her bathing suit or something like that. Anyway, the last question is, where do you see your figure collecting in 10 years? The only thing I can really compare to when I think about a hobby that has lasted 10 years or more is manga collecting. I've been collecting manga since I was 12, and because of that, it's been a little over 10 years, and I do see what happens, with a hobby when you've been in it so long. With manga, what happens is that sometimes you're not so into series anymore, and what you end up doing is selling books or complete sets, just because you want more room, and like I said, you're not too into it anymore. And or you don't order as much for certain months, and other months you order a lot. It just depends on what you find and what you like. And I figure it's going to be the same thing with figure collecting. I'm going to have months where I'm ordering a lot, maybe months where I don't order anything at all. And obviously that's just the way things go. I don't anticipate ever getting out of the hobby. I haven't with manga. I still buy things. I still enjoy it. I've been in it for a long time, and when I get a hobby, I generally stick to it. I'm not one of those people that constantly changes hobbies, so I do think that I'll continue to collect figures. What I'd really like to have at some point is a room, where I only keep figures that isn't, part of my bedroom, which is what it is like now. I'd like my own little figure space where I have 3 walls, lined up with Billy units from IKEA, and in the middle I'd like some Deltoffs or some other kind of display case that has, you know, 4-way view, so glass surrounded on all 4 sides, where I keep like the prize figures, like my prized figures for, that I like during that time, and I'd be able to rotate them depending on what I'm more into, you know, in that period of time, maybe seasonally and that sort of thing. And that'd just be really cool. I think the 4th wall, that one that would be blank, would have like some cool posters that are framed, that sort of thing. It'd be very cool to have a hobby room like that. Right now, unfortunately, I have a small space, so I can't do that. But hopefully one day. We'll see how things go and hope for the best, I suppose. Anyway, that was the last question. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Maybe you can relate to some things, and you have a perfect grandma as well or something. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!